Imagine a drawer full of carefully folded letters, each one written in the same delicate handwriting, each one marked with a year that's long since passed. For Maya, these letters were more than pieces of paper. They were a mirror into her soul, a chronicle of the person she had been, and the woman she was still becoming. Hers was not just an ordinary tradition, but an annual ritual that began many years ago when she found herself standing at the crossroads of change for the very first time. It started on a rainy evening after a long and difficult day. Thunder rumbled outside her apartment window, and the world felt especially heavy. Maya sat quietly at her little wooden desk, a mug of tea cooling beside her, reflecting on all that the year had brought her. There were things she celebrated, dreams that grew bright as fireflies, but there were also stumbles, disappointments, and mistakes she wished she could hide from view. And that night, feeling the weight of it all, she opened a fresh page in her journal, and instead of writing about her day, she wrote to the girl she had been a year before. "Dear Maya," she began, "I wonder what's on your mind tonight. Are you afraid of the future? Do you feel small? I just want to tell you that it will be okay. You will laugh. You will make new friends. You'll try things you never thought you could do, and some of it will be scary, but you'll be braver than you think. And yes, you'll make mistakes, but you'll also learn from them, and you'll find, bit by tiny bit, you're becoming someone new." She sealed the letter and tucked it in an envelope, labeling it with the year. And with that, Maya's reflection letter was born. Each year after that, Maya returned to this tradition. As seasons changed and she moved through different chapters of her life, school, first jobs, new homes, and changing friendships, she wrote a letter to the version of herself from just 1 year before, full of kindness and honesty. Every letter was a time capsule, capturing victories both big and small, worries about the future, and gentle reminders to have patience and forgiveness for herself. After the first few years, Maya made a rule. She'd read the previous year's letter before writing each new one. Sometimes she giggled at past worries that now seemed small. She'd shake her head at old fears, surprised at how certain she once was that she'd never make it past certain challenges. Other times, tears welled up in her eyes, remembering how heavy some burdens had been, how lost she had felt, and realizing how much she had grown since then. Some years brought great change. A new city, old friendships drifting apart, or the thrill of learning something completely new. Some years were quieter, marked by routines and slow, steady growth. But every letter, whether written through joy or heartache, carried the same message. You're still growing, you're still learning, and you are always, always moving forward. There was one letter in particular that changed everything for Maya. It was written during a year when nothing seemed to go her way, a year of unexpected losses and dashed hopes. She felt as though she was standing still, or worse, moving backwards. When it came time to write her reflection letter, Maya nearly skipped the tradition. What was the point when she felt she had nothing to celebrate? But she found the courage to write anyway. She wrote honestly about her struggles. She told her past self that it was okay to hurt, to grieve, and to not have all the answers. She wrote, "Your greatest growth sometimes comes disguised as your hardest season. Even when it feels like you're standing still, you are changing in ways you can't yet see." As she read the words back to herself, Maya realized something powerful. Evolution isn't always visible in the moment, but it's always happening. Over time, Maya's collection of letters grew into a roadmap, a gentle guide showing all the paths she'd taken and the person she was always in the process of becoming. Those letters reminded her that life wasn't about reaching one perfect version of herself. Instead, it was about embracing each imperfect, ever-changing step along the way. Through these annual reflections, Maya learned a lesson she wished her younger self could have known. You don't have to wait until you're finished to be proud of who you are. Growth is not an overnight transformation, but 1,000 tiny acts of courage and kindness to yourself, day after day, year after year. When she looked back at all her letters, Maya saw not a series of failures or missed chances, but a beautiful collage of strength, hope, and resilience. She learned to celebrate her ability to adapt and change, and to forgive herself for moments when she stumbled. She found comfort in knowing she was capable of learning new things, of healing, and of building a life that was entirely her own, one that might look different every year, but was always, in its own way, a story worth telling. Maya's reflection letters became a legacy, not just for herself, but for everyone she loved. When her younger sister felt scared about a big move, Maya encouraged her to write her own letter. When her friend felt stuck after a disappointment, Maya shared her tradition, showing how looking back with compassion can help you move forward with confidence. In the end, Maya's reflection letters were more than just words on a page. They were proof that she was always evolving, sometimes in ways she could measure, sometimes in ways she could only feel. Each letter was a gentle reminder that the journey of personal growth doesn't have shortcuts or final destinations. It's ongoing, ever-changing, shaped by both the light and the shadows along the way. As Maya slipped her latest letter into the drawer with all the others, she smiled, knowing that next year she would return to this ritual. She would read, reflect, and write again, carrying forward the wisdom that had guided her through so many seasons. Be kind to your past self, patient with your present, and hopeful for your future. You're always evolving, and that's the most wonderful adventure of all. Thanks for tuning in to Smiley Toon TV. If you enjoyed today's journey, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell icon to keep the smiles coming. Drop your thoughts in the comments, and let's keep this adventure going together. Stay positive, keep smiling, and let your mind wander.